Good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host, the motivational professional development guy. Today, we're going to discuss the effects of a micromanager. The effects of a micromanager. But before we get started, like always, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this podcast. Whether it is on YouTube, we're doing videos on YouTube now. We still got the audio going with Red Circle, Radio Public, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, and SoundCloud. So choose your app that you like to listen to. Also, share this podcast to as many people as possible, trying to spread it out. Please comment. I want to see, just give me a shout out. Let me know if you're listening. Let me know where you're listening from. And answer the question every week. I give you all the questions. Answer that question or any comment. Or if there's any topic that you would like for us to discuss, please consider letting us know that as well. We'll absolutely look into talking about whatever topic that is that you would like for us to discuss. And like always, if you heard at least one thing in this podcast, at least one in this podcast that you like, or something that might have resonated with you, or something that might have just, threw on that light bulb, you say, oh, I remember this. Find that like button as well. All right, find that like button. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and get into it. Once again, this is your host, the motivational professional development guy. Today's discussion is the effects of micromanaging. The effects of a micromanager. All right. So the question of the day is this: have you ever worked with a micromanager? Leave that in the comment section. And also share your experience. Don't mention any names though, okay? We don't want any names, but make sure that you absolutely let us know that you have worked with a micromanager before and share a little bit about that experience, all right? All right, folks, so we can go ahead and dive on into it right now. So, hey, let's just start off with this, okay? There's no secret. There's not a secret that micromanagers have something that they are insecure about. They have something that they are insecure about. That's why they are micromanagers. Whether it is their own knowledge themselves. See, sometimes when people don't know a job or know what to do or even how to communicate or share expectations and just simply don't know their job, they kind of become, those are the people that you typically find that's going to be a micromanager, right? Because since they don't know, they're not confident in themselves. They're not confident in their own ability, so they doubt everyone else. Or they don't really know if you are doing a good job, right? Or if you're actually doing what you're supposed to do. They don't know. So they become micromanagers, which really, they're just trying to find out. They're trying to learn themselves, and they're trying to see, are they doing this, they're doing that. People who, when they don't know something, they speculate everything, right? So that type of, so those are the type of, that's one thing. That's one that causes a micromanager. It could be an option, a thing where that a manager actually have inexperienced employees. They can have inexperienced employees, so they kind of micromanage with that, right? They kind of start to micromanage because they feel like, hey, I have a bunch of new people. They really don't know this industry. They really don't know what to do. They're not understanding what's being asked of them. So I'm gonna, kind of manage a little tighter or a little more than I typically would, right? They haven't been trained, right? You have employees that haven't been trained yet, which also really, it goes back to the manager. If the manager have not trained the employees or even offered training or gave them the opportunity to go out and get training or any type of skill that they need to be able to perform that task or duty, then that falls back on the manager. Right? I don't think they realize, I really don't think managers realize a lot of times that's really killing the morale. Micromanaging kills the morale of your staff. I'm going to say that one more time. Micromanaging kills the morale of your staff. It does. When people are being micromanaged, they tend to not want to take on assignments because they know what comes with that, right? People are unfortunately reluctant to assist other team members because of micromanaging. People also, and this is a biggie right here, and if we're gonna keep it real, this is a biggie. People tend to not want to work for their organization because of those things we just talked about that causes low morale within inside an organization of the manager being a micromanager. People tend to want to leave that organization because of that, right? Because, and I know we all heard before that people don't leave jobs, they leave people. I, for one, don't like cliches, but that's the truth. That's the truth. People leave people. People leave bad leadership, bad managers, bad supervisors. That's what people leave, right? Because, people, when they take a job, they know the duties, right? Because they applied for the job. They pretty much know what's being asked of them, right? Pretty much. People know how much they're getting paid because they applied for the job. They saw how much the job was offering and paying. They accepted the job, so they knew how much they were getting paid. And they knew if they had to work overtime hours or anything like that. So they know those things. So it's not money. It's not so much job duties, things of that nature, tasks that they have to do. It boils down to that person. So micromanaging is one of the huge things that causes people to want to leave an organization. Right? Because they're not, it causes a negative morale inside the organization, inside their team, right? The solution to this is the manager become more knowledgeable of their job and how to communicate and how to lead, improve their interpersonal skills, right? I say this all the time. A manager, leader, supervisor, coach, your job is to provide your employees with the knowledge and skills that they need, the resources they need to do their job. They need to be able to actually do their job, so you need to provide them with the resources and the opportunity to be successful. That is your job as a manager, a leader, a owner of a company, a supervisor, a coach. That's your job. It's the employees, your staff job, to put forth the effort. That's their job, to put forth the effort. The other solution is offer training, right? Actually offer training and opportunities for your staff to become skilled in something they're not skilled in. Create some type of mentorship program inside of your organization so your veterans can work with your new people, right? So you, the manager, won't have to micromanage so much. Because that's the reason when we talk about delegating, right? Delegating, people use that word like delegate, just delegate, it's delegated, right? But you want to delegate to the right person, and you want to delegate to someone that you know going to get the job done. You typically delegate to someone that you trust and you know who is skilled at that particular thing, whatever that thing is that you want them to do. That is who you typically delegate to. But remember, managers, leaders, supervisors, owners, coaches, the responsibility is still yours. It does not, you don't lose that responsibility because you have now delegated to someone else. Right? Doing these things, what it does, it allows you, if you're able to give that person the training, give them an opportunity to be successful, give them a mentor, whatever that is, become knowledgeable yourself about it so you can feel more secure about, hey, I know they're doing this the right way because I know this myself. I know they're doing this the right way because I've seen this myself. I know they're doing this the right way because I've done it myself. All of those different types of things. Answer those questions for yourself to prevent yourself from being a micromanager. Answer those questions yourself. That's something that you can do for yourself. No one can stop you from doing that for yourself, right? If you truly want to be an effective manager. The manager should only be managing the process. Manage the process, get to know your people. Manage the process, get to know your people. What I mean by that is you manage what's going on. You manage and monitor the process, the daily activities, daily duties, Whatever, if it's a project or it's an assignment, anything that's going on, you can stand back and manage it and monitor it, right? If you know you have a properly trained staff, you know you delegate it to the right person. If you know what's supposed to be done as well. Now you can properly sit back and manage and monitor that situation. And what I mean by getting to know your people is everything is about relationships. Leadership is all about relationships. Getting to know the people. That's how you know who to delegate to, because you know this person's skill set. You know that this person's capacity of how much work they can handle. But if you don't know anything about your staff, your employees, then you're not going to delegate effectively to the right person, right? And get them the help they need so they can be successful. So you will not have to micromanage. The benefit for this right here is that you boost morale up because people feel good. And you think about it, and if you ask people who you've ever managed, supervised before, or led before, they're going to tell you that they like challenges. People actually like challenges. People like actually feeling, they knowing that what they do, the work that they do has value. People like believing and knowing that the work that they actually are making a difference. They want to know, okay, so why am I doing this? The why behind it, right? Being able to explain the why behind it so people can feel empowered, like, hey, what I'm doing is important. What I'm doing affects this. Those type of things like that. That's what you want to be able to do. So it's going to boost the morale up, right? It's going to boost morale up because people feel a purpose on something. Adults, adults are what's in it for me. Why should I do this, right? Being able to explain those things. So it boosts morale up, and it helps with retention. It helps you to keep your good people that you hired, right? We went through a whole process. We spent money hiring people, bringing people in, going through orientations and stuff like that. You know, you're paying people overtime for orientations or to put packages together so people can know their benefits or whatever that is, right? You're doing all these things, spending all this money or training. There's a lot of money being spent for each employee, right? You want to keep that person because if they were great enough for you to actually interview them, and if they were great enough for you to actually hire them after you interview them, then it should behoove you to make sure that person is going to be successful in training. And you keep them. You actually want to keep that person so your organization continue to grow and be successful with the people that you hire. That's what that does. When you stop becoming a micromanager, there's an actual benefit to that. But again, there's work to be done with that manager, leader, supervisor, and there's work to be done with the employees as well, if need be, right? But you can't just continue to micromanage because that causes a low morale, right? We want a positive morale, and we want to keep the people that we hire. Folks, this has been the Art of Customer Service Show with your host, the Motivational Professional Development Guy. Today's discussion was the effects of a micromanager. Don't forget to answer that question I asked you at the beginning. Have you ever worked with a micromanager? And share that experience. Don't share names, but share that experience about that, all right? Once again, folks, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this podcast. Whether it is on YouTube, you can watch the video on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe to that. Share it to as many people as possible. Comment. I want you to answer that question or just give me a shout out, right? Find that like button. If you've heard something that resonates with you, if you heard something that I might have thrown a like button, you're like, oh, you know what? I remember that, right? I remember I heard this right here before. Find that like button. All right? Do that. Also, if you listen to this podcast via audio, you still can listen to it on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, Red Circle, and Radio Public. Once again, folks, this is your host, the Motivational Professional Development Guy. I want to thank you all for joining us each and every week. Be safe. Join us next week. And remember, share this podcast to as many people as possible. Thank you.